And also, I ask you before we get into the details, did he say anything wrong? Where was, as Phil Brooks would say, the lie? There was nothing he said that was inflammatory. There was nothing that he said that could have been taken that was like misleading. Everything he said was asking where is the rage? Where is the blowback from the same booking strategy that both companies are doing? And I like this from Tony Khan. I know people that they hold him to a standard that they think he shouldn't be doing this because he owns a company. I like that he does this. I'll be honest with you. It pops me. I know you said the same thing on the flagship. I think Tony Khan doing this sets him apart. He's not setting the same archetype as the other executives. He's a wrestling fan at heart. This is what he knows. And to me, the best Tony Khan that we get has been this Tony Khan. When he tries to play buttoned up nice, he starts trying to play in the boardrooms with everybody. That's not the Tony Khan I like. I like the adversarial. I like the guy with a little fucking fire in him. If you don't like it, who cares? But this is his company, and it doesn't bother me at all that he tweets.
It's such a self-righteous thing from fans when they get on and they complain and say, oh, it makes him look lesser than, it makes him look small time because he's getting on and talking about what else is he supposed to do? Play the WWE game where they smile in the camera and say all the right things. Like, where would Eric Bischoff, Vince McMahon, Don King, run down the line of all of the promoters of every combat sports entertainment company, if they were coming up and their company was 5 years old or less, and they were going against people and they had X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at their fingertips during the Monday Night Wars, what do you think would have been going on that platform? Look at what Bischoff was doing on TV. You think he wouldn't be sending out tweets? Do you think he wouldn't? Do you think he would be above that because he's a professional? Give me a break. Give me a break. That's a dumb, short-sighted take. Does it make him look cringy to a certain sect of fans? Of course it does. But who gives a shit?
Don't care.
And I see all of these fans. The thing that gets me hot, if it bothers you or you don't think it's a professional way to be, that's one thing. That's an opinion. You can have that opinion. The thing that gets me really hot about fans is when they say, this is another example of why I cannot watch this company. So an owner getting on social media is going to make you not watch a product and support the pro wrestlers that there's obviously some talent on here that you like, unless you're one of those fans that immediately when they leave the Fed or immediately when they sign with AEW, you just throw them to the wayside. There are those fans out there. Just look at the response that Adam Copeland got when he left. They were praising him 2 weeks before he arrives, and then he arrives and they're saying, he's garbage, which is a terrible way to be as a fan. I'm all about the wrestlers, man. I don't care what the company head does. It's not going to make me stop watching a product. If that were the case, I would have stopped watching WWE a long time ago because of all the bullshit Vince McMahon did. And I would say Vince had some really, really dark marks against him that transcend just being kind of a loudmouth on Twitter. Like the Saudi Arabia deal, all of the sexual allegations against him. But Tony comes out and says something like you said, Ace. Take whatever you want away from how Tony is as a person, how you feel about him. He's cringy, etc., etc. What did he say there that was wrong? The ringing thing that he hit on that tweet, the main purpose behind that tweet was showcasing the double standard with the fan base. How AEW can do one thing and get eviscerated for it, and then WWE does the same thing and nothing is said. And this wasn't the first time that this has been brought up by us. Me and Sneed talk about this all the time on the flagship, how WWE can do the same exact thing and nothing is said, or they're praised for it. But if Tony were to do it, he's the worst booker of the year. This is why I don't watch All Elite Wrestling. There is a double standard with the fan base. It's clear cut. If you don't think there is, you're an idiot. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. If Jinder Mahal, oh my God, this is a brilliant move. But then days before, the IWC is just eviscerating the fact that Hook is getting a title shot. I mean, come on, guys. Like, what are we talking about here? Just back up what you say. Just if you want to take a stance and plant your feet, keep that same energy with every promotion. That's one thing I try. Everyone's guilty of it, but I really try to hold companies' feet to the fire on the same thing. If I don't like a booking strategy in this company, it's going to go across all boards. I don't like team mentality of, well, this is my team, so I'm going to take up for everything they do. If Triple H was on X saying things like this, more power to him, dude. More power to him. I don't care. That's why, like, me and Steve always talk about Dana White. Dana White is Tony Khan's almost kind of following the Dana White UFC mentality, because Dana White, if you come out after him or if you do some shady shit, he's going to go on Twitter and he's going to call you out for it. He's not going to be the suit and tie guy that just kind of sits and lets people just run their mouth. He will have a response for you, and I respect that. It's a breath of fresh air in a sports landscape where Roger Goodell, all of these heads of sporting companies, NFL, NBA, they're faceless corporate guys who are the face of a company that's been around long before them. So they have the kind of luxury of sitting back and not saying anything. When you're in a company that's 5 years old and you're thrust into the spotlight the way no one's ever been thrust into the spotlight in the pro wrestling world, he can't sit back and just take it on the chin. He has to stand up for his company. And I kind of respect it, man. I don't have a problem with him coming out and saying certain things. I think it does him no favors, because we know how the wrestling fan base are and how they feel about him. So it's just kind of playing into that narrative. But I'm with you, Ace. I enjoy this version of Tony Khan. I like the adversarial Tony Khan. I like him being like, hey, I'm not just going to sit back and let this narrative be pushed without me pointing out the inaccuracies of it.
Yeah, and I agree. I think you said it perfectly, because no one out there is holding up the mantle for him. Everybody else gets Triple H doesn't have to tweet, because it's not the board's not skewed in AEW's direction. Public perception right now, house money goes towards WWE for whatever they do. And this is not even, people are not taking into account the digs that go his way. Not even just the fans that are underneath every post, which I'm sure he reads every single one of them because he is a diehard wrestling fan. You had even USA Network with the what was the cage match rating. And then you also had the same thing with WWE on Fox, the Twitter account that poked fun at Tony Khan and the Jacksonville Jaguars not making the NFL playoffs by posting the Kurt Angle meme. So these are little things that he's supposed to ignore? Because
when they do it, oh, it's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. But when Tony comes back, oh, that's cringy. That's the shit that I just don't.
Well, the argument that people are making is that that's an intern for WWE on Fox, and this is Tony Khan. I would spin it the other way. I have respect that Tony Khan takes it direct on, because we've seen athletes like Kevin Durant make a ghost Twitter account and defend himself in the comments because he doesn't want to have his name out there. But right now, he's putting his name on the line, and he's promoting his shows while doing it. He's owning who he is. He is a message board, discussion board, wrestling fan from the mid-90s in the Attitude Era. You either like it or you don't. He's true to who he is. He's not trying to conform to the archetype of what we know wrestling executives are. He's marching to the beat of his own drum, which makes people mad. And he is quirky. He is different. He's not who you expect him to be. But he's running a company that has become number 2 in 5 fucking years. He's doing something that TNA, who's 20 plus years old, hasn't been able to do. WCW went out of business. ECW went out of business. Everybody else crashed and burned at the feet of WWF, WWE. And he's doing stuff that no one's ever done selling out Wembley, doing the things that he does by the beating of his own drum, and just because he doesn't want to play nice by the standards of everybody else, doesn't make him a bad guy. And again, go back to the original message. What did he say that wasn't true? Point it out, because there is a double standard on both sides. And this is just the latest example of it. It's not the one example. It's one of a pile of many that I can point at.